This woman dove into a pool to rescue a drowning boy, but then she saw another body in the water. While at work, Jennifer Potter was confronted with a drowning boy, and she took the brave decision to try and save him. But shockingly, it turned out that he wasn't the only one in danger Jennifer was faced, then with retrieving a second body. Wednesday, 6 June 2018 was a summer's day that may have begun. Like many others, but little did she know that before she goes to bed, she would have to make a decision that affected not just one but two lives. It was far from a coincidence that Jennifer Potter was present at the scene of the accident, though that's because she holds the position of assistant manager at the Brookwood Apartments in Indianapolis, Indiana, where the incident took place, and on that particular day, Potter was inspecting the grounds of the complex accompanied by a maintenance worker. But although this duty was something that she had likely performed on several previous occasions, this time she was in for a shock. Cart soon became aware of a noise coming from an area of the complex. Then, following the sound, Potter and her co-worker drove over to the pool, where it eventually became apparent that someone was in extreme danger. As Potter looked towards the pool, she could hear a young voice struggling in the water. So, even though it was unclear at this point how the child had ended up in this situation, Potter without hesitation decided to spring into action. Speaking to Wish TV in June 2018, Potter recalled the moment when she first seen the boy. She said, "I'm just running at this point, and I'm throwing my coat off, dropping my phone and keys, and still running at this point, and Potter should be commended for taking action. After all, making that judgment call in the heat of the moment is something that not many would be brave enough to do." But this distressing scene was not the complete story of what happened. Once Potter had jumped into the water, she discovered something else that had leaped into the pool and swum towards the drowning boy. In a bid to save him, she became aware of a second body in the water, a woman whom Potter correctly assumed was his mother below the surface. While holding the boy, Jennifer Potter can see the mother beneath the little boy. "I have no idea. It has to be the adrenaline that was pumping through my body," she reported. Yet, while she was able to snatch up the mom and the child, she was unable to keep the mother's head above the water. Instead, she had to focus on pulling them both to safety. Fortunately, though, with the help of an employee, she was able to get the two individuals out of the water. Then, after the incident, Potter told the fire service that, although she would consider herself a competent swimmer, she doesn't swim very often. With that in mind, her decision to jump into the pool is perhaps even more remarkable. Now, although you may think that this incident couldn't get any more nerve-wracking, you'd be wrong. Why? Well, when they lifted the mother out of the water, Potter and those who were there to help could see that she was pregnant at this point. Potter was still unaware of the circumstances surrounding the accident. Luckily, though, witnesses were able to ultimately shed some light on what exactly had happened to Potter and her co-worker. Finding the struggling pair, according to those who'd watched, the mom, who was 6 months pregnant, and her son had been making their way around the pool when he lost his footing and fell. Even though the mom couldn't swim, she had jumped in after him and had been able to raise him by keeping his head above water. Amazingly quick thinking, Potter had found the pair in time. Then, once everyone had gotten out of the pool, her co-worker called 911 on the call. He said, "We had an adult, potentially pregnant female jump in to save a boy, and she was drowning in the pool. They pulled her up and she was breathing, but she needed to be checked. Perhaps neither the mom nor her son would have made it if Potter hadn't intervened," though that was certainly the opinion of Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Reeder Reith, who would tell that the assistant manager had saved 3 lives that day. Jennifer Potter was thanked by everyone for saving those innocent lives. After that, both of the mother and the boy were taken to local hospitals and were expected to make a full recovery. The mom was even able to speak to Potter before she was taken to the hospital, and she used the opportunity to thank her rescuer. A lot of people asked, why did Potter decide to jump in when she saw the boy struggling instead of waiting for help? Luckily, in Jennifer Potter's report, she talked about all the details of her one-of-a-kind experience. "When I got there, I was like, I don't know if I can get both of them. I didn't know, but I did whatever I could then and just started swimming to the side, and they both came with me." While she also added that it had simply been a matter of instinct, Potter went on, "I don't feel like a hero. I just felt like I was at the right place at the right time." she specified. Her need to save them all was more significant than questioning her capacities, especially in her field of work where lives are at stake. The danger always gets in the way. So even though she didn't swim for a long time, she could save people, and that's something quite impressive.